Natalie Elphicke resigned
Should we go
from.
straight to Farage?
Well, hang on. Natalie Elphicke
Quick.
resigned from the Conservative Party, right? And then that got Labour questioned about. And by the way, she's criticised Labour throughout her history as a Conservative parliamentarian back in, when was it, 20 few years ago. And she took over from her husband, who was done and jailed. And she took over from her husband in very odd circumstances. But it looks like she may have been offered a peerage or something similar. I don't wish to sort of speculate. I just have, I know. But, I think that's the perfect excuse for the abolition of the House of Lords, if you ask me. But she's a total hypocrite, and she says she's joining Labour because they're the ones that are going to solve the boats and the migrant issue. Like, what have you been smoking? And so that led to questions for the Labour Party, and this will lead me on to Nigel Farage, I promise. And questions for the Labour Party, they said, well, if you would have Natalie Elphicke in your ranks, who has said that she is anti those coming here, mass migration. She's 5 times she's said things like on the cost of living crisis, that we shouldn't be siding with the Manchester United footballer Marcus Rashford, on housing, on ULEZ. She's been against ULEZ. On striking, she's been in favour of the businesses against the trade unions, and obviously, as I just mentioned, on immigration. And despite all of that, she's now a Labour Party politician. But they said, well, if you'll have Natalie Elphicke in your party, Mr. Labour Party, why would you not have Nigel Farage in the party? So a Labour spokesman was asked this very question. So the Labour spokesman refused to rule out Nigel Farage joining the Labour Party. They said, we have conversations with all sorts of people who want to come and support our party. Now, I just thought, well, I mean, what planet are you living on if you think Nigel Farage is going to join Labour? But this is just, like, do they really think we are that thick, right? Do they really think we are that stupid that we genuinely would believe that Nigel Farage could find a home within the Labour Party? The Labour Party's so changed and different that actually Nigel Farage would be comfortable sitting his arse down on the benches opposite. Well, not that he's in the Conservative Party, but you get my point. Ideologically, at least. On everything from mass migration to taxes, Nigel Farage is massive miles away from the Labour Party. So they're just treating us like fools, Chloe.
I mean, it really must be New Labour if they're genuinely considering having Nigel Farage. I mean, I guess they just must be used to giving politicians answers to everything, which means that they, rather than being able to just say yes or no to a question, they have to give us this nuanced bullshit, which says maybe, maybe
Yeah.
not. Yeah, I mean, obviously Nigel is highly unlikely to join the Labour Party. I mean, maybe he'll have some kind of reawakening, but I highly, highly doubt it. I mean, he'd be a lot more charismatic than Keir Starmer as leader of the
Well,
Labour
that's true.
Party, so
Yes. I
maybe
mean, I
he'd be better
remember
for them than that man.
there was a very good speech where Nigel stood up in the European Parliament, and he described was it the head of the European Council? I forget which. Anyway, some European bureaucrat, technocrat, and he said he had the charisma. He had what was it? The appearance of a middling bank clerk and the appearance of a damp rag. The charisma of a damp rag, I mean. And anyway, it went down a lot better than I just delivered it. But I thought. Rank hypocrisy of actually saying
Yeah.
she can be a Labour Party politician and support border controls.
Yeah, it's totally bonkers. I mean, this Labour Party, and Nathan's absolutely right. They will never solve the migrant crisis because they don't want to solve it. I mean, they're going to stop the Rwanda bill, even if it's the smallest deterrent. It's better than nothing. They'll probably stop sending money to France and just let the boats come over here. They might even just hire a ferry. But do you know what's really interesting about this? It reminds me of the Conservative Party's broad church statement. And look how far that's got the Conservative Party. They are now splintered at the seams. There is no such thing as one Conservative Party. It's multiple people, multiple groups, and it's done terribly for that political party. So I hope Labour welcome everyone with open doors. The one thing I will say, though, is that the Labour Party is traditionally for the working people. That is the root
Uh,
of the Labour Party. That's what it should be. It should actually stick up for people like Nigel Farage, who speak massively on behalf of the working class. Nigel Farage and the Reform Party do that far more, and even the Tories to a certain extent do that far more than Labour do now. So Labour, we're seeing this massive dynamic shift in the political spectrum where Labour are becoming the class of the elite, snobbery, rich entitled kids like the ones
that's happened for a
protesting
long
outside
time, but yeah,
Cambridge.
yeah,
Yeah, it's been slowly happening since 1997 when Tony Blair took over and
yeah.
became prime minister. That party has transformed. It's had an internal battle, and the left have lost. And now the working class are going to the right because they're sick to death of hearing what the Labour Party have to offer. But yeah, never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I just told my mother to leave her trade union, to be honest, because I said none of them represent you anymore, and that's quite sad,
Yeah,
actually, as someone from a
it's
very
sad.
working class family and people that have always
Yeah,
worked in industry, etc.
yeah,
Right, Chloe has to dash off, but what I would say on that point of the Tory party and the Labour Party fracturing, do you both think it's time for PR in Britain, as in
yes.
changing the electoral system? I do. Chloe
I'm really
doesn't.
on the I'm really on the fence about this because I want us to have strong leaders. You know, people like Margaret Thatcher were able to do so by not having to deal with a coalition of a load of different parties. But I just feel like the system that we have is failing us. I
Yeah.
really don't know what the solution is, in all honesty. I'm very
To
on the fence
change
about
it,
this one.
come with us to the dark side. Have you got what it takes to be a reasoned presenter? Well, send us a short clip of yourself to join@reasoned.uk and we might be seeing you on this very channel very soon indeed.